My Lords, it has indeed been a wide-ranging and miscellaneous debate, and I hope that since we're considering the bill on report, noble Lords will forgive me if I don't endeavour to summarise all of the different speeches made and confine myself to one or two points. The first is to thank the noble Baroness Lady Kidron for her support for my amendment, but also to say, having heard her argument in favour of her own amendment, number 191A, I think the difference between us is entirely semantic, and had she worded it so as to say that Ofcom should be under a duty to offer advice to the chief coroner as opposed to guidance to coroners, I would have been very much happier with it. Guidance, of course, guidance issued under statute has to carry very considerable weight, and as my noble friend the Minister said, there is a real danger in that case of an arm of the executive, if you like, or a creature of Parliament, however one wants to regard Ofcom, interfering in the independence of the judiciary. But I think had she said advice to the chief coroner and whoever is the appropriate officer in Scotland, then that, I think, would have been something I could have given wholehearted support to. So I hope she'll forgive me for raising that quibble at the outset, but I think it's more than just I think it's a quibble, really, rather than a substantial amendment. On my own amendment, I'll simply say that I'm grateful to my noble friend for the brevity and economy with which he disposed of it. He was assisted in that, of course, by the remarks and arguments made by many other noble lords in the House as they expressed their support for it in principle. And I will just say that I think there is a degree of confusion about what the bill is doing. There seemed to be a sense that somehow this amendment was giving individuals the right to bring actions in the courts against providers. But of course, that already happens, that right already exists and is enshrined in Article 65. All this amendment does is attempt to give some balance so that consumers actually have some protections in what is essentially an unequal contest normally, which is trying to ensure that a large company enforces the terms and contracts it has written. And in particular, it would give, as I think noble lords know, the right to demand repeat performance, and that is the right to put things right, essentially, rather than simply monetary compensation. And it would frustrate any attempts by the providers in drafting their own terms and conditions to limit their own liability, because that, of course, is what they seek to do, and the Consumer Rights Act frustrates them in their ability to do that. But we'll say no more about that for now, and with that, I beg leave to withdraw my amendment.
Is it your Lordship's pleasure that this amendment be withdrawn? The amendment is by leave